role again in the brain. Then the Cori cycle. Now, in the actually in muscle, glucose is converted to pyruvic acid by glycolysis, and pyruvic acid is converted to lactic acid by anaerobic glycolysis. But this pyruvic acid, this lactic acid cannot be converted back to glucose in muscle due to lack of enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase, and therefore muscle enters into blood. Lactic acid enters into blood. Then from the blood, lactic acid enters into liver. In the liver, lactic acid is converted to again pyruvate. This pyruvic acid is converted to glucose by gluconeogenesis. This glucose again enters into blood and again enters into muscle. That means the conversion of muscle lactate to glucose in liver and its re-entry into muscle via blood is called as Cori cycle, because lactic acid cannot be converted to glucose in muscle due to lack of enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase. Muscle has to depend upon liver. So the conversion of muscle lactate to glucose in liver, its re-entry into muscle via blood is called as Cori cycle. The cycle was first of all discovered by scientist Cori. Then RL cycle, I will rapidly take RL cycle, Rappaport-Lubrin cycle. Actually, RBC is a very simple cell. It doesn't require more energy. So to avoid the wastage of energy, so to avoid the loss of energy in RBCs, glycolysis takes place at some divergent route or shunt pathway or supplementary pathway between 1,3-BPG to 3-BPG. So the divergent pathway which occurs in glycolysis in RBCs to avoid the wastage of energy is called as Rappaport-Lubrin cycle. So here the wastage of energy is avoided. The significance of RL cycle, actually here it prevents the accumulation of ATP, and 2,3-BPG plays a very important role. 2,3-BPG decreases affinity of hemoglobin to oxygen, and cell gets oxygen very easily. So 2,3-BPG is increased in hypoxic condition, high altitude, fetal tissues, again anemic conditions. So again 2,3-BPG plays a very, very important role. You will see a very, very important question, blood sugar regulation. So the normal concentration of sugar in blood is about 100 milligram percent in fasting condition, and in the after taking the food, the sugar level is less than 130 milligram percent, and the sugar level is maintained very efficiently in our body. When the concentration of sugar is more, it is called as hyperglycemia. When the concentration of sugar is less, it is called as hypoglycemia. When it is normal, it is called as normoglycemia. And the sugar level is maintained very, very efficiently in our body, mainly by two types of hormone, such as hypoglycemic hormone and hyperglycemic hormone. So insulin is the only hormone which can decrease the sugar level by increasing glucose uptake, by stimulating glycolysis, then by stimulating glycogenesis, by stimulating HMP pathway, by stimulating lipid synthesis, by decreasing gluconeogenesis, again by decreasing glycogenolysis. So insulin actually can decrease the sugar level, while the rest of the hormones such as glucagon, epinephrine, thyroxine, glucocorticoids, growth hormone, and ACTH, all hormones are hyperglycemic. They stimulates gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis, or decreases glucose utilization by extrahepatic disease. So by the combined action of both these two types of hormone, sugar level is efficiently maintained in our body. Then we will see some important questions from lipid metabolism. So under lipid metabolism, I will shortly take digestion, absorption of lipid. So mainly we are taking triglyceride, phospholipid, cholesterol esters in the diet. In the stomach, in mouth, there is no digestion. Again, in the stomach, there is no digestion, but the main digestion takes place in small intestine by enzyme pancreatic lipase. This pancreatic lipase digest triglyceride, and by stepwise manner, TG is converted to DG, DG is converted to MG, monoglyceride, with liberation of free fatty acid, also with liberation of glycerol. Then phospholipase can act on phospholipids, and you will get formation of lysophospholipid. Cholesterol esterase act on cholesterol ester, and there is the formation of cholesterol. Then absorption. So all these simple substances which are produced in GIT by lipid digestion, they combines with the bile salt, forming mixed micelle, and then all they enters into intestinal mucosal cell, but bile salt doesn't enter. In the mucosal cell, long chain fatty acids, they are converted to acyl CoA by enzyme thiokinase. Then Mg monoglyceride is again converted to Tg triglyceride. Cholesterol is again converted to cholesterol ester. Then lysophospholipid is again converted to phospholipid. So all they combine together with protein, forming chylomicrons. So in this form, actually, lipids are absorbed. Then chylomicrons enters into lymphatic system, then systemic circulation, then peripheral tissues, and then to the liver. Here you are getting three diseases: steatorrhea, chyluria, and chylothorax. Then next, very important question from examination point of view: describe beta oxidation of fatty acid with energetics, or describe beta oxidation of palmitic acid with energetics. So body preferably uses glucose as a source of energy, but when there is no entry of glucose in starvation or fasting condition, then body uses glycogen. After complete loss of glycogen, then body start to use fat as a source of energy. So triglyceride act as a source of energy in starvation or in the fasting condition. So Tg is stored in adipose tissue. So by lipolysis, it gives fatty acid and glycerol. Glycerol enters into blood, then enters into liver, and enters into glycolytic pathway. Then the fatty acid enters into blood from adipose tissue, then from blood, the fatty acid then enters into liver. In the liver, fatty acid undergoes oxidation for generation of energy, and the oxidation takes place at beta carbon atom. So why it is called as beta carbon atom? Because oxidation takes place at beta carbon atom, and oxidation takes place by losing hydrogen. So which are the actually, what is the overall idea of beta oxidation? In complete cycle of beta oxidation, the fatty acid loses 2 carbon in the form of acetyl-CoA, and there is a formation of new fatty acid with 2 carbon less. Again, this new fatty acid again enters into beta oxidation, again converted to acetyl-CoA, again formation of new fatty acid with 2 carbon less. It is continued till it is completely converted to acetyl-CoA. So in beta oxidation, fatty acids are completely converted to acetyl-CoA, which then enters into Krebs cycle for generation of energy. So which are the steps of beta oxidation? Activation of fatty acid, oxidation, hydrolysis, oxidation, and cleavage. The activation takes place in liver cytoplasm, while remaining stages occurs in liver mitochondria. So first of all, fatty acid is converted to acyl-CoA by enzyme thiokinase. Here, 1 molecule of ATP is consumed, but by breaking 2 bonds, so we have to subtract 2 ATPs during calculation. So fatty acid is converted to acyl-CoA. Then fatty acid, then acyl-CoA enters into mitochondria, but this is impermeable to mitochondrial membrane. So with the help of carnitine, acyl-CoA enters into mitochondria. In the mitochondria, then oxidation takes place by losing hydrogen, and oxidation takes place at beta carbon atom. So by losing hydrogen, acyl-CoA is converted to alpha, beta, unsaturated acyl-CoA. Again, loss of hydrogen taken by FADH2 and forming 2 ATPs or 1.5 ATPs by electron transport chain. An enzyme required is called as acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. In the next step, hydrolysis, addition of water molecule, and this is further converted to beta hydroxyacyl-CoA. Then this beta hydroxyacyl-CoA, again by oxidation, again by losing hydrogen, it is converted to beta keto-acyl-CoA. Again, loss of hydrogen taken by NAD converted to NADH2, which gives 3 ATPs. Then last stage, cleavage or breaking. Beta keto-acyl-CoA undergoes breaking by enzyme thiolase, and one molecule of acetyl-CoA is produced and new fatty acid with 2 carbon less, and cycle continues till it is completely converted to acetyl-CoA. So by beta oxidation, fatty acid is converted to acetyl-CoA, which then enters into Krebs cycle. Then carnitine, as already I have mentioned, carnitine plays a very important role for the transport of acyl-CoA from cytosol to mitochondria. So with the help of enzyme CAT1 and CAT2, carnityl acyl transferase 1 and enzyme translocase, and CAT2, carnityl acyl transferase 2, the acyl-CoA enters into mitochondrial matrix from cytosol, which then further undergoes the beta oxidation steps. Then the energetics, the formula for palmitic acid is C15H31COOH. That means it contains total 16 carbon. In one complete cycle, loss of 2 carbons in the form of acetyl-CoA. So there is a formation of 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA, but by 7 rounds. In each round, 4 molecules of ATPs are produced. So 7 into 4, 28, and from 1 molecule of acetyl-CoA, 10 ATPs are produced. So 10 into 8, 80. It becomes 108. And we have to subtract 2 ATPs. So 106 ATPs are produced from palmitic acid by considering recent concept. And by considering old concept, 129 ATPs are produced. From stearic acid, 146 ATPs are produced. So this is what is the regarding the energetics of palmitic acid. Then again, a very important question from examination point of view. LAQ, what are ketone bodies? Describe ketogenesis, ketolysis, and write a note on ketosis. Under certain fatty acid undergoes excessive oxidation in liver under certain metabolic conditions, producing large amount of keto acids such as acetoacetic acid and beta hydroxybutyric acid, which by diffusion then enters into blood. In the blood, acetoacetic acid by spontaneous decarboxylation converted to acetone. So these 3 substances such as acetone, acetoacetic acid, and beta hydroxybutyric acid are called as ketone bodies. The synthesis of ketone bodies by liver and degradation of ketone bodies by extrahepatic tissues occurs normally in our body. So there is a continuous formation of ketone bodies and use of ketone bodies by extrahepatic tissues. So the concentration of ketone bodies in blood is about 1 mg/cent, and normally it never occurs in the urine. So the synthesis of ketone bodies is called as ketogenesis. This pathway mainly takes place in liver. The starting substance required is acetyl-CoA. So 2 molecules of acetyl-CoA combines together, giving acetoacetyl-CoA, 4 carbon compound. This acetoacetyl-CoA again combines with acetyl-CoA, giving 6 carbon compound, HMG-CoA, by enzyme HMG-CoA synthetase. Then this HMG-CoA undergoes breaking or lysis by enzyme HMG-CoA diase, and first ketone body is produced called as acetoacetic acid, which by further converted to beta hydroxybutyric acid. Both these ketone bodies are interconvertible to each other, and it is also converted to acetone. So this is called as ketogenesis. So the breakdown of ketone bodies is called as ketolysis. It never occurs in the liver because liver doesn't contain enzyme thiopurase. It is present in mainly kidney and muscles, and therefore breakdown of ketone bodies doesn't take place in the liver. It takes place in the peripheral tissue. So the breakdown of ketone bodies to acetyl-CoA is called as ketolysis. So very simple pathway. Beta hydroxybutyric acid is converted to acetoacetic acid because the reaction is reversible. Acetoacetic acid combines with succinyl-CoA. With liberation of succinic acid, acetoacetyl-CoA is produced, which then further converted to 2 molecules of acetyl-CoA, which goes to Krebs cycle. That means ketone bodies act as a source of energy. In extreme starvation, brain depends upon ketone bodies. So ketone bodies are water soluble. So the normal concentration of ketone bodies in blood is about 1 milligram %. And when there is more formation of ketone bodies in blood, the condition is called as ketonemia. And the excess ketone bodies enters into urine. The condition is called as ketonuria. So the overall picture of ketonemia and ketonuria is called as ketosis. So ketosis means the accumulation of ketone bodies in blood and tissues. You will get number of conditions where there is a more formation of ketone bodies. These conditions are uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, then starvation, severe exercise, in fasting condition, severe ether anesthesia, glycogen storage diseases, fever. So in all these conditions, there is a ketosis. So if there is an accumulation of ketone bodies in blood, there is a use of alkali by the body. So there is a use of alkali, and the condition is called as acidosis. It is mainly due to ketone bodies. It is called as ketoacidosis, and the main problem is by diabetes. It is called as diabetic ketoacidosis. It is a serious condition.
Sir, last 10 minutes, excuse me.
Okay. Then synthesis of cholesterol. The cholesterol is produced in our body. So 2 molecules of acetyl-CoA giving acetoacetyl-CoA, then HMG-CoA by enzyme HMG-CoA reductase. Then it gives mevalonic acid, which is converted to IPP, isopentenyl pyrophosphate. Again, 1 more molecule of IPP giving geranyl pyrophosphate, then farnesyl pyrophosphate, squalene, lanosterol, desmosterol, and cholesterol. This is called as synthesis of cholesterol. So acetyl-CoA is the starting substance required for synthesis of cholesterol. Cholesterol is exclusively present in the animals. Then degradation of cholesterol. Actually, cholesterol is converted to hormones, mainly steroids, male sex hormone, female sex hormone, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, cholesterol in the skin, it gives vitamin D, in liver, it gives bile acid, bile salts. So this is the degradation of cholesterol. In the body, cholesterol is transported with the help of LDL and by enzyme ALCAT. And cholesterol is excreted in the feces, in liver after converting to bile acids and then bile salt. So bile salts enters into stool sample, and this is the only way by which body lost cholesterol. Then we'll see a very important topic, that is the vitamin D. Commonly you are getting a very important question. Describe chemistry, diet resources, and RDA and biochemical functions of vitamin D. So vitamin D is also called as anti-rickety vitamin. So 2 active forms are there, argocalciferol and cholecalciferol. D2 is called as argocalciferol, cholecalciferol is called as D3. So cholecalciferol is present only in the animal. It is produced from 7-dehydrocholesterol by the action of sunlight. So the active form of vitamin D is called as calcitriol. Another name is called as 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. So how synthesis takes place in the body? So cholesterol is converted to 7-dehydrocholesterol. This is converted to vitamin D3, cholecalciferol by the action of sunlight in skin. Then this cholecalciferol enters into liver. In the liver, special enzyme is there, 25-hydroxylase, and 25-hydroxycholecalciferol is produced. It is also called as a calcidiol. Then this calcidiol then enters into kidney. In the kidney, special enzyme 1-alpha-hydroxylase, which add OH group on first position, and active form of vitamin D is produced called as 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol or calcitriol. Then this calcitriol is mainly responsible to maintain serum calcium level or phosphate level. So when the concentration of calcium decreases in the blood, the hormone PTH is secreted. Then this hormone PTH stimulates enzyme 1-alpha hydroxylase in kidney, and there is more synthesis of calcitriol in kidney. Then this calcitriol maintains calcium level by acting on 3 organs. These organs are bone, intestine, and kidney. In the intestine, calcitriol enters into cytoplasm, combines with receptor, then enters into nucleus of the cell, controls transcription, translation, and forms calcium binding protein. With the help of calcium binding protein, more and more calcium is absorbed from GIT and calcium level is increased. Then action on the bone. Normally, calcitriol is responsible for deposition of calcium in the bone or for mineralization. But along with PTH, calcitriol is responsible for mobilization of calcium from bone to the plasma, and calcium level increases. In the kidney, there is more reabsorption of calcium, decreased excretion of calcium, and calcium level is maintained in our body. So the deficiency of vitamin D in children causes rickets, while in the adult it leads into osteomalacia. Rickets is observed in growing children. There will be bony deformities, mainly bow legs, pigeon-like chest, knock knee, delayed teeth formation. So these are the common features of rickets. In the osteomalacia, again, the bones are very fragile, they are delicate, they are vulnerable for fracture. So generally it is seen in women after the menopause. So this is the regarding the actually osteomalacia. So actually I hope, dear students, I hope you have understood these metabolic cycles I have taken rapidly. I wish you all the best for your forthcoming examination, not only for your examination, but also for your future career. So, dear students, be safe at home and take care of you and your family too. Now, I shall request to higher